Before I start off this video, I just want to apologize about the last video. Playing and carrying a conversation at the same time is a lot harder than I thought. But that being said, let's jump right into the video. Let's talk Dokkan links. Now, first off, this video is not me complaining about the link level grind. Well, mostly not complaining. What it is about is I think that the number of links a character has is due for an update, similar to how, excuse me, let me go ahead and just put all these in. Similar to how the categories each character is on got a buff, so basically they're no longer hard capped. My reasoning for this is pretty simple. One, not all characters have 7 links, and two, like with the link level update, especially with the link level update, links are way more important now to a character's overall power than it ever has been in the past. Now, I know the player base is not stupid, so when we talk about these characters and like pulling for them, hype is a big factor. But I think hype is dependent on a couple things. One being how flashy or iconic they were in the series, and two, how much do they break this game? Now, the case in point for this is Cooler. Now I'm not going to speculate on how hype STR Cooler was compared to like all the characters in the overall series, but I will say this: if that boy had AGL Turles' kit, we would not be having this discussion. Now, with that point out of the way, let's talk about a character that's kind of near and dear to my heart, but definitely got screwed over. STR Gogeta. Now, he's a perfect example for a couple of ways, and why I think he's a really good case for why expanding the number of links each character has is good. First off, this guy, like if you think about this guy from the time he first came out to the time he got an EZA and to how he is now, he fell off the side of a cliff. No disrespect, I understand he used to run the game back in the day, but times have changed. And to add insult to injury, he only has 6 links, so he's already behind the curve. So I bring this up, and it's not to slander him, but it's to point out that giving him more links is really good for the players, and it could be good for Bandai as well. For players, obviously, we get to have more links to our favorite characters, therefore increasing their power, which, I mean, you're going to be more incentivized to play them. And even if it's not a direct increase to their power, like the link doesn't give them attack and defense or even ki, having more links can help them synergize with their team. So, like, in the future, you could future-proof characters that aren't inherently good. For Bandai, though, this is a bit more complicated, and I guess I should explain how adding the links to the character would work so that I could show you how they may implement something like this. So first off, for characters with 6 links, they automatically, if this update goes through, get a free universal link. And what I mean by universal link is stuff like Prepared for Battle, Shocking Speed, Over in a Flash, Fear and Faith, Shattering the Limit, or Fierce Battle. And this would even the playing field for these older units that didn't quite get a fair hand, or like weren't in a position where Akatsuki was really thinking about how they wanted to balance the game. All right, let me just set up this team. Best leader for this is, I think it's these two. Is this guy 120? Oh, he's on 100. Nope. What's it called? Freeze is better. Yeah. And then let me just go ahead and lock these guys in. So yeah, the 6 link characters definitely get a free link. And next, I think the hard limit for how many links every character should get is only 3 additional ones past 7. So like that screen that has links would match the old category screen where it would lock out after it's full. Because I'm not gonna lie, looking at blank links, let me go ahead and put an example up. Looking at this blank area here, it's kind of tilting. Like, just go ahead, put some links in there, man. Now, how would characters go about getting these 3 additional links after they get their 7th? Well, I propose that when they max out their first link to level 10, so any one of these, like let's say you get lucky and you get Big Bag Bosses to level 10, this link right here would open up, or an area right there would open up. And this would be where Akatsuki gets their hook in, because the type of link that opens up there wouldn't just be any sort of link. I propose it'd be linked to a link shared by characters with the same name. So the link that would be here would be a link that this perfect cell doesn't have, but another perfect cell has access to. And this kind of helps in the long run, because now, even with the same name update, like, you can play characters with the same name, and even though they don't link, you may still want your characters to have that potential to have those similar links. So, like, let's say in Cell's case, he doesn't have Gentleman, I believe. I'd have to look at it. Does he not have Gentleman? I don't think so. No, he doesn't. But there's another perfect cell with Gentleman. So giving him access to that link, even though it's not the best one, could help him link up with another cell that doesn't share the same name but has Gentleman. Go and keep bowling on this one. Should have got, yeah, but we got a super attack. And I know this kind of screws over. Well, this also kind of screws over characters with like really unique names, like the Heroes Collab exclusives. But Bandai could just group those characters with those unique forms with a more common name. Like, let's say Super Saiyan 4 Gohan gets looped with the Ultimate Gohans, or the Darkness Toa just ends up being, or the Darkness Demon Goddess Toa ends up being with the other Toas. Now for the next link, that 9th link, you would get access to it after you've got 4 links to level 10, and that link pool would be based on the links that are common to the categories that the character is on. So yeah, sorry to characters like Janemba, Videl, or Tapion on the JP side, because they don't have that many categories, but they still win out because links that are common to their categories would be helpful to them anyway. So especially those two like Videl and Tapion, who have very, let's just call them strange link sets, getting access to common links in their categories just overall help them. And then finally we have the last link being added once a character gets 7 links max, which is the original max, and that would be and that link pool would be the universal links I mentioned earlier, like Prepared for Battle, Over in a Flash, Shocking Speed, etc., etc. Ultimately, I think an update like this only helps the player base, and it kind of helps Akatsuki by adding more hype to characters, because, like, think about it like this. Let's say you're a free-to-play player, and you end up in a situation where you've grinded up all these free-to-play units. They're getting better over time, but they still, most of them, I won't say none of them, most of them don't have access to something like Fierce Battle. But let's say you link level your free-to-play characters, and this last universal link is Fierce Battle. So whenever you summon and you get that Dokkan Fest exclusive, you get that legendary summon LR, and it has Fierce Battle, now you have, through this system, a way to get that 15% attack buff to your free-to-play units. Not to mention, like, you can help them have more overall cohesion with the categories they're on, with the characters that share maybe not the same name, but like a similar name. And I think that would just overall be a really good thing. Also, before I go, I want to iron out a couple things. I think if this system were to happen, there'd have to be a couple hard and fast rules. We couldn't have super characters getting big bad bosses, because seriously, super class is already better than extreme simply off the sheer numbers advantage, and giving them something like big bad bosses just because would be freaking terrible. Maybe not terrible, but I don't think I would use extreme teams outside of cases where it's just like, hey, I really just want to play an extreme team, rather than like, yo, an extreme team is a super viable option. And then the other stipulation would have to be, and sadly would have to be, you couldn't add links that are kind of like super category specific. And what I'm not super class, but like super category specific. And what I mean by that is something like Kamehameha. Like, if you have the Kamehameha link, you end up on the category. So characters like that Tech Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, I know I mentioned him a lot, but even though it's bad that he has Brilliant Strike instead of Kamehameha, let's say you were to give him the Kamehameha link, it may conflict because now he's kind of tied into the Kamehameha category, but he doesn't have the category, so that'd be another thing to look out for. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed the video. Like if you liked it, subscribe to see more, and again, please comment, because what's really getting me into making these videos is interacting with the community, putting out these ideas and seeing what everyone thinks. And with that being said, stay fly, guys. Fly Guy Gaming, out.